Hey folks, it's Craig Graves, the show co-host, and I am here with a shortened version of the Through a Therapist Eyes podcast. Chris is not on here with me today, and we wanted to try something different. Some of the feedback that we've gotten is your show's too long. I don't have an hour or more to sit down and listen to a show, but we're also finding that we can't cover all the things we need to cover about a certain topic in a shortened time frame. So what we decided to do is go back through our shows and chop out small, helpful segments that we could give you guys that would provide some good, helpful recommendations or information, and do it in a much smaller form or format. So that's what this is. This is really the second installment, if you will, of the short version of Through a Therapist Eyes podcast. We've got a short segment on retirement out there. If you hadn't heard that one yet, I would recommend that you go out there and listen to that one. It's about 7 or 8 minutes long. This one is from episode 36. We did a review of Mark Devine, retired Navy SEAL commander, his book, Unbeatable Mind. And so a lot of the things we talk about on the show go back to awareness of our thoughts. And so as human beings, you probably know, we all kind of by default go to negative thought patterns. And so why is that? And then once we realize that we're in a negative thought pattern, what can we do to change it? Well, we're going to answer that question right here on this little short. The whole thing is about, 7 or 8 minutes long. So I hope you enjoy it, and we'll be putting more of these out in the future. When we talked about people kind of defaulting to the negative a minute ago, what he says about that is right here. So he says, why is it so natural for us to be so negative? I'd like to get your comments on this one too. Okay. It turns out that for survival's sake, our rational thinking mind is wired with a bias for negativity. It must decide and act on life-threatening influences daily, and it is conditioned to be pessimistic and scared as a result of the barrage of negative influences.
Okay. That's interesting because I came across information recently, go figure, at a conference, where our amygdala, which is the fight or flight center of our brain, people have heard that, I think, before, has, now I'm making up numbers, but it's kind of true, because I don't remember numbers so great, regarding our frontal cortex and our amygdala. The amygdala is the fight or flight system in our brain. Frontal cortex is our thinker, abstract reasoning and whatnot. Craig, there are something like trillions of connections from the amygdala to the frontal cortex, and only like hundreds from the frontal cortex to the amygdala.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so, that answers that question for me. Why are we negative? That's it.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Dang,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Tell you what, folks, talk about this stuff and you put 2 and 2 together in your brain and you learn stuff just talking.
Yeah, and he does go into detail about how the mind works in chapter 8. We're not going to get there tonight, but it does say that here. So the idea here is to learn how to watch your thoughts, and then when you see that you're thinking a negative thought, redirect those thoughts, okay? Let me see here. Yeah, he says, once you see this, the negative thoughts, you discover one of the powerful gifts of the witness. You now have the choice to manage these thoughts immediately. So if you follow these negative thought patterns by default, by going through these practices, you should be able to develop the skill to realize you're having these negative thoughts and then to change them. The trick is to use awareness of negative thought as a stimulus to softly redirect the mind to a realm of positive thought and performance. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, so here's a specific process that he teaches in order to redirect our mind from a negative thought to a positive thought. And you could really use this little process in anything, If you're frustrated with your kid, if you're thinking negative thoughts after seeing some kind of news show, even if you're in a workout, oh my God, I'm going to die, I can't do another one. Those are negative thoughts. And if you can redirect those to positive thoughts, then your outcomes are going to be a lot better. Okay, so it's a 4-step process. This is the specific process I use and have taught through my various training programs. Number 1, witness the negativity. That's the key right there, right? So a lot of us go off on and myself included, you can go down a rabbit hole thinking negative thoughts and not even realize you're doing it.
Right.
So the first thing is to witness the negativity. The second thing is to interdict or stop the negative thoughts with a power statement. The third thing is to redirect your mind with self-talk and imagery to something positive and productive for your current goal. And number 4 is to maintain your new mental state with a jingle or mantra.
Okay, let me just give that back to you.
Yep.
Hey. Here's my thoughts. I don't like that. Number 1. Number 2, we're going to change that.
Yeah.
And we're going to, number 3, execute that change. And number 4, maintain that change.
Yep.
Is that kind of?
Yeah, that's it. Witness the negativity, interdict or stop the negative thoughts with a power statement. So once you realize you're thinking these negative thoughts, you say something. You can come up with your own thing. Like you say, stop. One of the things he says in here is feed the courage wolf, and we can talk about the courage wolf and the other wolf. What is the other wolf? There's the courage wolf and I don't know.
I do not know. You mentioned sheepdog earlier.
Use a power statement to stop the negative thoughts. Redirect your mind with self-talk and imagery. I got this. I can do it. Or you picture yourself in the situation you want to be in versus the one where your mind's taking you. And then you maintain that new mental state with a jingle or a mantra.
Okay, Craig, I mean, that's what we do with specific strategies. And, when I've got somebody in my therapy office sitting here and they'll be talking about a situation in their life with a relationship or with a goal that they have, and they'll just tank. And I will be like, stop, let's hold on right there. And here's the classic thing with cognitive behavioral therapy. Let's reframe that. We need to change that statement and reframe it to a positive-based, more realistic statement. And listen, we know through research, thank God for researchers, we know that changes physiology, heartbeats, heart rates, blood pressure. When you get positive, you feel positive. But you are working against your amygdala when you're in a hot emotional conversation. So this is
that's so interesting, man. That this is part of the therapy world.
It's absolutely they're kissing cousins.
That is amazing. At least it is to me. But maybe I'm a geek like that, but that's okay. I'll take it. Okay, he kind of goes into some detail about witnessing the thoughts and why the power statement keeps you in a negative. I'm not going to read through all that stuff, but that's kind of where the intervention comes in to kill the negativity. Yeah.
Intervention's a good word.
Yeah.
And just a comment. I mean, these guys. I mean, he's lived it. Navy SEAL people are successful. They are tough as nails. There's no doubt about it. But they purposefully seek people that have the emotional skill sets as well as being able to do 150 push-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about emotions in just a second. And the process he talks about for emotions is very similar to this one too. So there you have it, folks. Why do we think negative and what to do about it? If you'd like to do a deeper dive, I would recommend you listen to episode 36 on the book Unbeatable Mind if you haven't done so already. And we'll be talking to you really soon. Thanks for listening.